People were even speculating that. But today was the Nike quarterly call, putting to rest any rumors that A, this wasn't a done deal, and B, there are renegotiations at the table. Something that this did clear up as well, it's looking like Caitlin Clark's shoe is coming in 2026.
Let that sink in for a moment. Nike just confirmed what many of you suspected but nobody wanted to believe. The most marketable athlete in women's basketball history, the player breaking every attendance record, the face that's tripling WNBA ratings, won't get her signature shoe until 2026, maybe 2027. We're talking about a 2 to 3 year wait for a signature shoe. And while Nike sits frozen in corporate paralysis, Wilson Basketball just dropped a commercial so devastatingly perfect that it's exposing everything wrong with the sportswear giant's strategy. This isn't just marketing. This is a masterclass in how fear destroys billion-dollar opportunities. Here's what the establishment media won't tell you. Nike locked Caitlin Clark into an 8-year, $28 million contract, a number that looked generous until you realize she's already proven she can move merchandise and audiences like nobody else in the women's game. They secured what they thought was the next Michael Jordan of women's basketball. Then they did something that would have been unthinkable during their glory days. They froze. They hesitated. They let politics and fear paralyze their entire marketing machine. And in that vacuum of leadership, Wilson Basketball, a company that makes basketballs, not shoes, just taught Nike how to celebrate an athlete they're too afraid to promote. If you believe the story behind the story matters, if you're tired of watching billion-dollar corporations waste generational talent because they're terrified of social media backlash, smash that like button right now. It tells us you see through the noise, and it keeps this investigation going. Let's connect the dots that Nike desperately hopes you'll ignore. Over the past few years, the company has been in free fall. They've lost more than $100 billion in market value since 2021. Read that again. $100 billion evaporated. The backlash got so intense that investors demanded heads to roll, and eventually the CEO stepped down. While Adidas managed to stay profitable even after cutting ties with Yeezy, Nike kept digging deeper. Financial analysts are now predicting an 11.5% revenue drop this quarter, down to $11 billion. That's the steepest fall since the pandemic crash of 2020. Nike's new leader promised a revival, but experts like David Schwartz from Morningstar aren't buying it. He's on record saying flashy new designs won't fix years of terrible strategy. Nike needs an entirely new product line worth billions, something that could take years to create, years they don't have. So when Caitlin Clark emerged as the biggest star in women's basketball, twice as recognizable as Angel Reese, and 4 times more popular than any male college star, Nike should have moved with the urgency that built their empire. Instead, they're making her wait 3 years for a shoe. Let's put that in perspective. When LeBron James was being courted back in 2003, Nike was so hungry to sign him that they started designing his sneakers before the contract was even finalized. They used a secret code name, Air Zoom Generation, and LeBron wore those shoes in his very first NBA game. 3 months from concept to the court. That's how fast Nike used to operate when they were fearless, when they trusted their instincts, when they understood that greatness doesn't wait for corporate committees to feel.
If we're comparing a Caitlin Clark signature shoe release to anybody not named Michael Jordan, anybody not named LeBron James, you're being extremely disingenuous. Extremely disingenuous. We can't compare abnormality to normal behaviors. We can't compare the extreme case, the rarest of the rare case, to an average Joe Schmo walking down the street singing do I did it dum diddy do. We can't be doing that. We only compare Clark to Jordan, Clark to James, Clark to Tiger, Clark to Gretzky, Clark to Ali. That's it.
You were onto something when you noticed Nike's timeline doesn't make sense. this isn't about design complexity, it's about fear. And that fear is creating an opening that Wilson Basketball just drove a truck through. Their new commercial isn't just good advertising, it's a cultural moment. The ad opens with a line that cuts through all the noise. Once, when you strip away the noise and the bright lights, it's just the game you loved as a kid. Fans felt that immediately. While Nike's trapped in endless internal debates about how to market their biggest star without triggering controversy, Wilson went straight to the heart. Love of the game, pure basketball, no politics, no fear. Just raw, authentic celebration of an athlete who's rewriting what's possible. And here's what should terrify Nike. Wilson didn't need sneakers to do this. They used basketballs. They made Caitlin Clark the first woman ever to have a signature basketball partnership with Wilson, and only the second athlete in history to achieve this honor. The first was Michael Jordan. Let that comparison sit with you for a moment. Wilson's treating Clark like the icon she is, while Nike, the company that literally built its empire on iconic athletes, is too paralyzed to move. The contrast couldn't be more brutal. Wilson's team studied every detail about Caitlin, her favorite colors, her fashion sense, her hobbies, her personality. They crafted products that genuinely reflect who she is. The campaign launched back in June to overwhelming praise from fans and marketing professionals alike. People called it one of the greatest basketball commercials in years. Raw, authentic, driven purely by passion for the sport. Meanwhile, Nike's silence surrounding their biggest women's basketball investment grows louder every single day. Many of you have been asking the same question. How did we get here? How does the most dominant sports brand in history get outmaneuvered by a basketball company? The answer reveals everything about what's broken inside Nike right now. When Caitlin signed her contract, headlines exploded with debate. Critics questioned why she deserved a shoe deal before A'ja Wilson, especially since Clark hadn't played a single WNBA minute yet. But here's what those critics don't understand about business. The market doesn't care about fairness. It cares about what sells. Allen Iverson outsold Tim Duncan in sneakers by massive margins, even though Duncan was clearly the better all-around player. Nike tried Duncan's signature line twice and canceled it both times because nobody was buying. And Duncan didn't care. He understood the business side. But A'ja Wilson isn't Tim Duncan. She's front and center in Nike's ads, on billboards, in national commercials. The companies invested heavily in positioning her as the face of women's basketball. Yet when the numbers came in, when the ratings were measured, when the attendance was counted, Caitlin Clark was the one moving the needle in ways the WNBA had never seen before. Her rookie season wasn't just successful, it was transformative. First team All-WNBA, top rookie in nearly every statistical category, fourth in MVP voting. And most importantly, the undeniable face of a massive ratings explosion that saved the league's visibility. Her games averaged over 1 million viewers, more than triple the WNBA's usual numbers. Tickets for her playoff debut outsold every other WNBA game that season combined. The Washington Mystics had to move to a bigger arena just to accommodate the crowds that showed up to watch her play. She broke attendance records in every city she visited. Reading between the lines reveals something Nike doesn't want to admit. They have the athlete who can transform women's basketball into mainstream entertainment, the player who can finally make the WNBA a household product, and they're too afraid to fully commit to her star power. Let's filter out the noise for a second, because what happened next reveals just how deep Nike's paralysis goes. Drop a comment right now telling us what you think Nike should do. Should they release the shoe early? Should they double down on Clark's marketing? Or is it already too late? Your perspective matters, and we read every single comment. Here's where the timeline gets even more revealing. Before her rookie season even started, Caitlin Clark faced a controversy that should have been Nike's moment to stand behind their investment. She didn't make the Team USA Olympic roster. The official explanation was that she hadn't earned it yet, that she needed more experience. But that reasoning falls apart the moment you look at history. Christian Lettner made the 1992 Dream Team without playing a single NBA minute. Diana Taurasi joined the 2004 Olympic team as a rookie with nearly identical statistics to what Clark posted in college. 2 decades later, with even more impressive credentials, Clark gets left out. The WNBA community is buzzing about why this happened. And the theories range from veteran gatekeeping to something far more uncomfortable. We're getting into speculation territory here, but multiple sources have whispered about tensions surrounding Clark's rapid rise and what some perceive as unearned privilege in the league. There's been commentary from players and media figures suggesting her success stems from factors beyond just basketball.
Black women, age reminds me a lot of me. Like, music is not really about me. And she knows how her privilege has gotten her to that point. And also, like, she's good at basketball, obviously. But, like, she understands her privilege and, like, pushes her over the top in a sense. It reminds me a lot of you.
These comments created an undercurrent of controversy that Nike could have either addressed head-on or ignored entirely by simply celebrating Clark's undeniable impact. Instead, they chose a third option: silence. They went radio silent on their biggest women's basketball asset, while the narrative around her became increasingly political. That silence sent a message louder than any commercial could. It told the world that Nike was more concerned with avoiding backlash than supporting the athlete who was single-handedly transforming their target market. And Caitlin's response to all of this? She let her game do the talking. She dominated her rookie season so thoroughly that even Team USA eventually admitted leaving her off the Olympic roster was a mistake. But by then, the damage to Nike's positioning was done. They'd shown they couldn't be trusted to back their own athlete when things got uncomfortable. Wilson Basketball saw that weakness and attacked it with precision. Wilson's commercial campaign carries a tagline that's already become iconic: Caitlin loves basketball. 3 words: simple, powerful, and devastating for Nike. Because that's the message Nike should have been broadcasting from day one. Instead, they were paralyzed by internal debates about optics and politics, while Wilson built a genuine emotional connection with basketball fans. The ad has exploded online, racking up millions of views and shares, with praise pouring in from both fans and marketing professionals who recognize they just witnessed something special. Wilson proved that success in modern sports branding comes down to 3 non-negotiable elements: talent, authenticity, and emotion. When you get those 3 things right, everything else follows naturally. The politics fade. The controversy becomes irrelevant. All that remains is the pure connection between athlete and audience. That's what Nike used to understand better than anyone. Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, LeBron James. These weren't just athletes Nike sponsored. They were cultural forces Nike amplified without fear, without hesitation, without corporate committees watering down the message. Connecting the dots reveals the true cost of Nike's paralysis. They're not just delaying a shoe release, they're squandering the biggest marketing opportunity women's basketball has ever produced. Every day they wait is another day Wilson strengthens their bond with Clark and her massive fan base. Every commercial Wilson releases is another reminder that they're the ones who truly believe in her greatness. Every basketball with her signature on it is proof that while Nike sees risk, Wilson sees history in the making.
Sounds of this interview, it seems like she's probably going to make more money overseas in EuroLeague than she did during this WNBA season. The commissioner told her that she could make $700,000 playing in the WNBA.
Think about what that means. The commissioner herself acknowledged that Clark could command $700,000 playing in the WNBA, yet her rookie salary was nowhere near that. And Nike, the company that supposedly secured her for 8 years and $28 million, can't figure out how to capitalize on an athlete whose value is so obvious that international leagues are offering premium contracts. The disconnect is staggering. Nike has the exclusive rights to create her signature shoe. the one product that could become a cultural phenomenon, and they're sitting on it for 3 years while her star power reaches levels the women's game has never seen. Wilson's success should be a wake-up call, but if Nike's pattern holds, they'll respond with more committees, more focus groups, more paralysis. Meanwhile, Wilson is building something that transcends basketballs. They're crafting a legacy. Their campaign celebrates greatness without bending to public pressure or social media noise. It makes you remember why you fell in love with basketball. That's the essence of legendary marketing, and it's exactly what Nike has failed to deliver. The basketball world is watching this unfold in real time. If Nike won't celebrate its own superstar, other brands absolutely will. Wilson just proved how it's done. Their commercial hit the mark with perfect precision, perfect timing, and perfect emotional resonance. It's the kind of work that wins awards and, more importantly, wins hearts. Nike needs to wake up because while they're caught in endless damage control meetings, Wilson is out there making history. In sports, as in business, you either rise to the moment or watch someone else seize it. Wilson rose. Nike hesitated. And that hesitation is costing them more than market share. It's costing them their identity as the brand that recognizes and amplifies greatness. The Nike that built its empire on fearless marketing would be ashamed of what the company has become. A corporate giant too afraid of controversy to celebrate the most exciting athlete in women's basketball. If you want to see how this story develops, if you want to understand what happens when billion-dollar brands forget what made them great, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're tracking every move Nike makes, and trust me, the next chapter is already unfolding. Because Wilson's victory isn't just about one commercial, it's about proving that authenticity beats corporate fear every single time. Nike's nightmare isn't coming. It's already here. They're watching a basketball company teach them lessons they used to teach the world. And the most painful part, they did this to themselves. They had everything they needed, the athlete, the platform, the resources. All they were missing was the courage to use them. Wilson had that courage, and now they're rewriting the rules of sports marketing while Nike scrambles to figure out what went wrong. The message is clear. When you let fear make your decisions, you don't just lose the moment, you lose your legacy. And right now, Wilson Basketball is building theirs on the foundation of Nike's failure.